All right, we're about to get started, everybody. Hit that like. There you go, like Mike just did. Look at that. The perfect timing. Give me 1 second. Let's go.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
Son of a whatever, hell. Oh my God. Hi, welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. All the things I said before. Also, LA is on fire. A one Waymo vehicle, and then some AI-generated images slapped together in the last couple seconds. Hi, I'm here. I'm good. You can hear me. Sound is up. That was my fault. I'm sorry. I get all excited and then I start blazing in here and now we're good. All right. You know what? I'm not going to say anything until the chat catches up to the fact that I'm on and I'm live and you can hear me. Okay. Hello. Your best line's wasted. Not so much. I really, sometimes it saves me from myself. That little, that little, mute button being on. Hello. Lots to cover today. Gonna blaze right through it, if I may. I will say though that I think I forget who sent me. Like I got a couple of links from this, but I think Summer sent it to me first. This AI generated thing, and again, for those that think AI isn't good for anything, this is one of the things it's good for.
You're clear to strike. Roger.
Hold on.
Ready to strike with duct tape?
I'll restart this one so that it plays in the same. Here you go.
Negative. There's a damn Cybertruck on the runway.
Cybertruck? Elon, what are you doing?
Testing runway durability. Science, baby.
That thing looks like a dented fridge on wheels.
And yet, it'll still last longer than your second term.
Keep dreaming, space boy. You couldn't even land a rocket without crashing it.
Says the guy who landed himself on the Epstein list.
Fake news. That list is more fake than your hairline and you know it.
At least this hairline built rockets. Yours could not even build a wall.
That's it. I'm calling in backup. Spirit 905, you're clear to strike.
Roger. Ready to strike with duct tape and cold burritos.
I don't know why it's Australian. Is Spirit Australian? ready to strike with duct tape and cold burritos. I think that's kind of perfect in its own way. Also, let's see. Yeah, is this all that? Yeah, this is stuff from yesterday, which I'm never going to be able to get through in 100 years, ever a million years. Okay, let me close this. And lots to cover today, not the least of which is, and by the way, I got to say, they are taking all this very well over at the Blaze. That was a freeze frame that came up when I just like paused something as I was checking audio on it. And I don't think that that's a mistake. I also think that, let's see, I know I have this button in here somewhere. Did I put it over here? Yes, this one?
Here I am like an idiot.
There you go. Just right in the, all right. But this deals with another story. We'll get to this in just one second. Obviously, everybody is jumping on this idea, well, except for that or whatever. And we'll get to this in a moment. Who's paying for this? The riots are being paid for by terrible people. Let's see. Exposes banning calls for investigations. Okay, this is so good. Can we? All right. I know, chat room, we've had far too much of Peanut Butter Dickhead and his buddies lately, but it is so choice. It is such the great example of MAGA turning on itself more than any other single thing. Like, because Stu's not allowed to say anything on the Blaze, on Glenn Beck's Blaze show. Hold on, I'm opening up a window. Let me get this back up to where I can see you guys. There it is. I need a larger pointer. Okay, here we are. Stu's not allowed to really push back on Glenn Beck or whatever. But I gotta say, graphics-wise, I don't know how they get click-throughs on their fucking clips over there at the Blaze, because the question, where the Los Angeles protest funding really came from, ... Your taxes. Well, okay, good. Now I don't have to watch the clip. Thanks, dum-dum. It's such a great business model they have over at the Blase, which is what I'm going to be calling it from now on, because nothing happens there. Over at the Blase. Meanwhile, apparently, I don't know what this is, so I want to jump on it right away. This is Jesse Waters. Dems are trying to frame Trump. For what exactly? What do you mean? Have they gotten access to the Epstein files? And I can't wait. It's probably going to be something stupid, but I need to know what the hell he's talking about. Here we go.
Ice, we ain't afraid of you! Ice, we ain't afraid of you!
Oh yeah, this dude, I mean, they're going to use this stuff like crazy. By the way, all of this is happening in like a 2-block area. Dun, dun. I was very afraid when it was in color. I'm more afraid now that it's in black and white, because it severely increases the amount of black in the color, in the image, and that's very scary as a color when it's really a shade. But yes, didn't you get more scared when it went from the color to the black and white? Didn't you feel like fear grip your bones? Damn.
Chaos in Los Angeles.
Why are you blurring out a Waymo car?
Looted, cars burnt to a crisp, and American flags torched.
Well, we like them crispy. You know what I mean? I hate when they're soggy. You know, you bring them home and they're never as good, and you can't microwave them. I recommend putting cars you find burned out on the street in an air fryer to keep them, yeah.
Anarchists and dirt bikes are waving Mexican flags around.
Well, one dirt bike. The other is a scooter something or other. I don't know what the fuck that thing is. And the city is not... The city is not engulfed in flames. Unless the vanity plate on that Waymo vehicle was City 1.
Love this country so much that they're waving the flag.
See, that the guy in the back is amazing.
Why do they hate the idea of being sent back? This doesn't look like assimilation. This looks like what it is, an invasion.
World's smallest invasion.
This all started Friday afternoon. ICE agents were assisting a federal drug and money laundering raid in downtown LA. When
Yes, they were assisting.
all of a sudden, dozens of protesters showed up and clashed with officers on the scene. The mayor of Los Angeles didn't stop it. She told LAPD.
Why? What do you think? She has a leash on all Angelinos, you authoritarian prick?
To stand down for hours. And
What do you mean stand out? You're showing footage of them arresting people.
Federal
Friday.
It's out to dry. Karen Bass told Trump, "Keep your hands off my Biden migrants."
We are going to fight for all Angelinos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants, and this impacts hundreds of thousands.
Do you think he's going to play the rest of it where she says the people causing violence are, are criminals and will be arrested?
Of Angelinos.
While rioters were
Nope. Shocking. While rioters were largely filming one dude shirtless on a car. Jesus Christ. This looks like they're filming an episode of something. There are literally more people filming the riot than rioters. This has become far too meta.
raising hell, Democrats chose sides.
I stepped out of LA so that order can be restored.
If they're escalating their tactics,
So that order can be restored. Did you hear that? They focused on the fuck off part and left out there.
so are we. When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
Ooh, I think, but in numbers, whatever. Okay.
Saturday morning, cop cars were getting pelted with rocks. And all
Yeah. Anybody besides me lived through the LA riots when they happened? I got to say, the turnout on this one is way low, but that happens with sequels.
officers had to start deploying tear gas. The media told us, "Don't
Another, like literally more dudes filming than throwing.
worry, the protests are mostly peaceful."
Most of the crowds, again, that I saw, that I spoke to, that I was interacting with, these are peaceful people that want to get their message across.
Most of those demonstrations were very peaceful.
The reality is we see peaceful protests launching in Los Angeles.
What did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot.
What about the cars on fire?
Both of them? I think that's the same one.
DC says it's just people having fun.
No, I don't think anybody said it was just people having fun.
There's a large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn
in the wrong way. Again, move law enforcement in the wrong way, not just bringing law enforcement in. Clear, right.
It's just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
No, police weren't having fun. The chief of LA County says he was outmanned.
We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll take backpacks, and the backpack will have a cinder block in it. They have a hammer, and they'll break up the cinder block and use that, pass it around to throw at officers, to throw it.
They couldn't find soup. They didn't have soup. Don't we know that soup is the preferred weapon of choice?
Big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And when they get caught, they say, "No, this is just soup for my family."
Right? Yeah.
The cars and throw at other people.
By 6 o'clock on Saturday, the city was on fire, and Trump had to call in 2,000 National Guard for backup. Now it's up to 4.
Again, Los Angeles has like between 5 and 7 million people, depending on the outer area of this. That you can see through the feet of these people how few there actually are. And I got to tell you, in the LA riots, like if you were even able to film it without getting your head caved in, that was one of the issues. Most of the footage of the LA riots, a lot of it came from the sky because you couldn't even get in the ground because there was so much violence going on. This is so there again, camera. Like, get out of here.
Trump didn't wait for permission from the governor like the last summer of love. Now there's a new policy. When they spit, we hit.
I'm sorry, is somebody going to punch him in the face the next time he spits while he's talking? And by the way, does a chunk of Adderall coming out of his nose count?
If we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order. When they spit at people, you know, they spit. That's their new thing. They spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right?
I don't know. Used condoms. What are they throwing? Soup? Is it soup? It's got to be soup, right?
And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family.
Right. They throw soup. Okay.
And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military.
Protesters liked spitting, but they didn't like getting hit.
You told me you got caught up in the tear gas as well. Describe what happened to you.
Oh, just tasted a little tear gas. Tasted like fascism.
The media.
I brush my teeth with fascism. I love the smell of fascism in the morning. It tasted like fascism.
Rush to blame Trump.
I can tell you it did not. I've been tear gassed. It does not taste like fascism. It has very little taste, actually. It's just a big stingy sensation.
Didn't really reach this point of the scale and the intensity of this protest and the scale and the intensity of the confrontation between protesters and law enforcement until National Guard troops were deployed here today.
Yep.
That very much poured gasoline on the flames, and that very much led to the LAPD, acting as in as widespread and aggressive a manner as we saw them acting today.
Now, the press said everything was mostly peaceful until the National Guard showed up. But the New York Times is reporting the National Guard hasn't even engaged with the protesters at all. National Guard troops appeared to largely refrain from engaging with demonstrators.
Yeah, they were around. That was the whole point. They're standing there in uniform, and it jacked the whole thing up unnecessarily. They didn't even actually aid the circumstance. Unfortunately for the guardsmen who were sent there, they didn't choose this assignment. They go where they're told. So they're standing there this whole time with shields on, having to wear gas masks just to stand there and be pelted so that Trump can use it as like anything that happens to them as a way of excusing whatever shit he wants to do. Thanks, rioting dickheads. Why don't you guys join the uncommitted in pushing this country more towards fascism? Like, again, if you're wearing a mask, you're not protesting. Period. End of story. Protest is about saying what you believe in. If you're hiding your face, then no one knows what you really believe or who you really are. And this goes for those Proud Boy dickheads and those khaki-wearing racists and all those guys. That's why they get called feds by their side all the time.
So that debunks the hoax that Trump incited the riots.
No, it doesn't. They don't have to actually do anything. Rows and rows of them standing there and being in uniform is what made them think, okay, here it's coming, right? That's the idea. Meanwhile, I would like to remind you that this fucker thinks that Russia had to attack Ukraine because they might be added to NATO at some point. And it scared Russia so much that it qualified as a buildup on their, on their border.
Karen Bass, who told cops to stand down, said the streets weren't really dangerous until Trump mobilized the Guard.
What we're seeing in Los Angeles is chaos that is provoked by the administration. When you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic. And
yeah, yes.
Deploying federalized troops is a dangerous escalation.
Even Kamala weighed in, saying deploying National Guard is a dangerous escalation meant to provoke chaos. Yeah, the guy who ran on Law and Order wants to provoke chaos.
Oh, you mean this guy?
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
You're shitting me, right? He's selling pardons, you fuckhead. He used an auto pen to pardon all the Jan 6ers, including ones who've been rearrested for domestic violence, attempted murder, child predation.
Makes no sense. Democrats are trying to frame Trump.
No, what makes no sense is you actually think he's the law and order president because in the same way you probably think Fox News is fair and balanced because hashtag fair and balanced trademark laws being what they are.
A heavy-handed dictator, even though the city was on fire before he sent the guard in.
The city was not on fire. 2 cars being on fire is not the city. Just for the record, city's not on fire.
Newsom, who could have called up.
Somebody's saying someone needs to investigate who these ICE agents actually are, vetted, trained, individually prosecuted for impersonating real officers. Well, that's the issue is that, and I don't, look, let me tell you, if ICE agents had their faces exposed, people, including cartels who are against them, would actually dox them and do them harm or threaten them. It's been a thing forever. It's been a thing on the border forever. So of course, in these circumstances, you're going to see people masked, but they should have their badges, and their credentials, very visible. There should be a list of them available to the defense always on who's there. They should also, even if they're wearing masks when they pick someone up, when they detain you, they should go, I'm Officer so-and-so, this is Officer so-and-so. That person should be able to ask who they are and have that verified as they're taken. Otherwise, how do you know you're not being kidnapped? That's the big fear. That's the obvious fear. And again, this is the same thing that applies to masked protesters. If you're masked and you're down there, how do I know that like Trump and those assholes haven't paid you to throw on a mask and set fire to a fucking car so he has an excuse to send somebody out and ratchet up this authoritarian nonsense, right? I think that's abundantly clear. That's why.
Bart himself is suing Trump for protecting his state.
You're not protecting the state. You were making it worse. And also, it's about the legality of federal government overreach, which is something Republicans used to give a shit about.
Fox News is calling it the LA riots. Is it a peaceful protest? What's happening? What are you seeing?
Well, I mean, look, Donald Trump has created the conditions you see on your TV tonight. He's exacerbated the conditions. He's, lit the proverbial match. He's putting fuel on this fire.
True.
Ever since he announced he was taking over the National Guard. An illegal act, an immoral act, an unconstitutional act, and we're going to test that theory with a suit tomorrow.
Newsom wants to send the National Guard home. Less law enforcement makes the streets safer?
First of all, the National Guard aren't there for law enforcement. They aren't. They can do perimeter enforcement. They can do kind of, blocking stuff. If there was a war broke out, maybe they could be used or whatever. But all law enforcement, anybody arrested will be arrested by the actual local police. Even when the National Guard are there, they can detain people, but they have to pass them along to the cops. So all law enforcement is done by local law enforcement, period. So yes, we don't need them there. There are plenty of fucking cops.
We learn our lesson already with defund the police.
We didn't defund the police in Los Angeles. It's a giant city. Also, you not only have the LA police, you have the Valley if you need them. They can pull in other people from the San Gabriel Valley or even in the Inland Empire if something is extremely important or dangerous, whatever. We have giant parades that have massive coverage. We have marathons, and after the Boston bombing, there's an immense presence. We have the Olympics coming, and they're going to be a huge presence there. Right.
Remember, they blame Trump for the fires too, and the homeless, and the crime, and the drugs. They say it's all Trump's fault.
Yeah, but not abstractly. Specific policies.
Newsom spent $20 million to Trump-proof California, and they can't even police their streets and put out a fire.
They did, though. You don't think those cars are still on fire today, do you?
Tom Homan says if Gavin keeps obstructing, he's going to slap him with federal charges. Gavin says, lock me up.
The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. I don't give a damn.
By the way, Homan completely backed down after this.
I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be.
By the way, I got to say, Newsom is like Trump is giving Newsom a gift into 2028. He just is. LA has not lost a step during his time as governor. People can bitch about stuff, but largely all the stuff that they would blame on him happened as a result of COVID specifically. And a lot of this is him, you know, like he's handing him wins. Trump is handing Gavin Newsom like leadership wins that he may not have had before. Now, full disclosure, I at one time, I don't have it anymore, or at least I don't think it's still the same one, had his cell phone number because he and I marched together for marriage rights, for gay marriage in San Francisco when he was the mayor, from Harvey Milk Square to the Supreme Court building. And I marched right along with him. And he was, I got to speak with him at length while we were marching together. He's a genuinely good dude. He's not a poser and full of shit. He believes what he believes. And you can disagree with him, but he's not selling something in that regard. He does come across as like a super politician, but I'm telling you, having spent time with him as much as anybody can in those kind of circumstances, the dude put his money where his mouth was, and he showed up. He showed up.
Clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
Trump says don't tempt him with a good time.
You are.
Gavin Newsom he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it?
I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
Mad Mac.
And again, just horseshit.
Waters, no relation, wants a mugshot too. She's trying to break into federal buildings in LA.
She's a federal employee. She's a congressional delegate. She is literally voted into her position by the people of the area.
Right now, 12 visitors.
Excuse me, I need to get in.
Contact our public affairs office.
I need to get in.
Miss Waters is rallying foot soldiers, telling them don't be scared of the guard, keep on fighting.
The governor didn't know anything about the National Guard coming here. He did it on his own. We can't be intimidated. We've got to get the people out. We've got to get the elected officials out. We've got to resist him. I'm going back out into the communities where ICE was last night to make sure people know that their elected officials are standing with them.
Democrats called in the National Guard when 50 migrants were flown into Martha's Vineyard. Now they're setting fires.
No.
Stop the federal government from enforcing immigration law, even though they said...
Who's they? Prove to me, how about, here you go, asshole. Prove to me that the people that set fire to those cars aren't sent there by Trump himself. Or Stephen Miller. Through what's left of the Proud Boys. Prove it to me. Yeah. If you're going to say a they, and you're going to attach that they to somebody else, prove to me you didn't send those people. Shit, I would argue that for the ratings alone, Fox might have a deal with Trump where they could go set fires whenever there's a riot just to raise the visibility of the whole thing. Prove me wrong. It would be lovely if you could prove me wrong, but you can't. So shut the fuck up.
Only the federal government could enforce immigration law. This is who they're fighting to protect. These bad hombres iced in LA. You ready? They're sexual predators, convicted of assault, battery.
Sorry, you got 4 people? I thought there were 25 million people in the country illegally, and the people in this detention facility. So what are there? Somewhere like a couple of thousand, and you're going to show me 4 dudes? I got news for you. What are you going to do? Arrest them and send them back to their home country? And set them loose so that they could come in again under a different name or attack people down there? Or are you going to throw them in jail here?
Gun crimes, drugs. One of the illegals picked up in LA yesterday was a gangster who shut up a high school graduation party, killing 2. If you're fighting for the rights of foreigners in the United States, that means...
No, you're fighting for due process and the uncomfortable aspect that goes with it. You don't get to pick and choose who gets due process and who doesn't, because the minute you actually can do that, then there is no due process.
Fighting alongside foreign governments. You're fighting for citizens of other countries. When citizens...
How do you know? How do you know? Again, this is the whole take my word for it, bro, attitude that the administration has. That's the problem. That's why we want due process. If somebody is like that and they're a criminal and you can send them back to their home country where they will do time because perhaps they did shit there as well, get it done. But if you catch them and you're going to throw them in jail, that's why you need a trial. And you're not going to just, by the way, the worse these guys are. The funny thing is, the bad people, the worst of the worst, they're going to try and ultimately they will stay in jail here until they serve their term, being fed and housed by the taxpayer. Meanwhile, the other people who didn't do any harm, who you scooped up in these raids, who are just working under the table, are going to get deported. And they've done nothing but basically be an exploited worker while they're here. And you're not arresting the people who hired them. You're not looking at the checks that they've cashed.
Other countries break into our country and commit crimes. And
other countries break into our country? What do you think they did? What do you think Mexico did? Jimmy a fucking window?
Rocks at cops and set cars on fire. Historically, we call...
Yeah, also, you don't know those aren't Americans. Doesn't mean they shouldn't go to jail for doing what they're doing. But what the fuck are you talking about?
War. And when a politician aids and abets these foreigners...
Look at all the fucking cameras, man. That's what this is more about. And again, here's your big take, and I want to remind everybody. Whenever you're watching the footage of these things, you will see dozens of people filming the actual cops, like the lines of cops and that kind of stuff. Very few people are turning around to film what's behind them or what the cops are standing against. If you ever see footage that is as singular as that, even if they're just showing the rioters and they're not showing where the cops are, for example, or the response to this, and you're not saying, okay, this is a tightly knit area where they're confronting a particular line on purpose. If you only see that, you might go, shit, they're just running down the street randomly, throwing shit in neighborhoods. And you go, oh no, they're actually at a police line and they're doing something specific. It may be wrong, but it's not spread all over the place. That would be somebody trying to lead you down the primrose path. They're trying to sell you a bill of goods. And the same thing is true if they show a bunch of cops with shields and don't show the other side where there's a bunch of fucking people throwing smoke bombs and shit like this.
How's that not treason? Encouraging foreign national criminals to assault police and federal agents? How's that?
No one has done that. They're all talking about people protesting legitimately, not about rioting.
Not going to lead to secession.
I don't know. Do January 6th now.
Violently resisting the enforcement of federal law. That's one of the ways.
By the way, who's this dude? This fucking hippie right here? Is that who you're talking about? Is he the army from Venezuela that's marched up here with his fucking cardboard sign and his fucking, what are those, Asics? He's wearing step-ins, for fuck's sake.
The Civil War started. And the last time the Democrats fought...
This is not how the Civil War started, asshole. Also, you'd be on the side that, is, I guess, corralling people of a certain race into cells, so closer to the slavers than anybody else. Good Lord. Language spoken in California... Uruguayan, Hokan, First Nation, Spanish, now some English, get a clue, colonizer. Who, me or who they're talking about? OG Adam Westish. Yeah, Spanish is quote, a colonizing language in South America as English is in the United States, or arguably French is in Quebec.
Civil War didn't go too well. Gavin says Trump's the one starting it.
What do you make of the fact that he says, you want a civil war on the streets of America?
No, it's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war.
Right. I want an uncivil war. It's just the opposite. What is fucking just the opposite of a civil war? I want foreign soldiers on our land fighting a real war. That's the opposite. The opposite of a civil war is a war with a foreign country. What an idiot.
Civil war would happen if you left it. If you left it to people like him, and I liked him. You know, I always got along with him.
No, you didn't. You just didn't understand that he recognized that you had to like kiss. That Newsom knew if you didn't kiss Trump's ass sometimes, your people of your state could die. Nobody likes you, dude. They just recognize the power you wield. Dude still doesn't understand he has no fucking friends.
Problem with him, but he's grossly incompetent.
There's been 2 assassination attempts. Now, violent riots against federal law enforcement.
Yes, they're all tied together. Yeah. Also, guys with gas. I mean, I got credit where credit is due. I don't know if this guy works for like KTLA or something like that. Got a fucking gimbal on his camera and a gas mask. Dude is ready.
Hope this doesn't get any worse.
Oh, God. It probably will. There might be a third car.
It's not like Trump didn't campaign and win on this. A CBS poll says a majority of the country wants more illegals like these deported.
Yeah, but the problem is he was lying about how many there were. See, they were largely, and I don't know how, by the way, this is a CBS News YouGov poll. I don't know if they went, if indeed there are 25 million illegals in the country, and they are driving down wages and blah, 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 do you believe he should remove them? Do you believe there should be mass deportations if there are 25 million? Or Trump says there's 25 million illegals in the country. They're closer to 10. So, and they have been. The figure has been steady for decades. Even with the bump up in people coming in, it was because of the drop of them, not coming in during COVID when the whole world froze.
Most voters say Trump's deportations make them feel safer.
No. Most voters say less safe or no change at all. Whatever their safety level is, they don't care, or they feel less safe. Most voters say this.
Maxine, she wants to give him citizenship.
They should not be treated this way. They should be given an opportunity to tell their story, whom they are, and why they're here, and ask the United States to please do what the Constitution allows us to do, and that is give them consideration for having citizenship here.
Yeah, let's give citizenship to the guy throwing cinder blocks at cops.
Yeah, she's not talking about the people that are there in the right. He's talking about the people that have been trapped in there without due process, that are allegedly being kicked out of the country or driven to the border and dumped.
Democrats are causing mayhem in their cities so when Trump restores order, they can label him a dictator and stir up even more hatred and violence against them.
Why are you showing, again, if the whole city is on fire, if it's spread terribly everywhere and it's out of fucking control, then why do you have to show me the same piece of footage twice ever? That's that more than anything else. In cable news especially. Look, I know there's hot footage and there's shit footage, whatever. But you should be able to, if it's that bad, you should be able to do fucking just helicopter footage of the entire goddamn city like it's like day after tomorrow. The fact that they are showing the same footage over and over proves to me it's not as big as they say. That's it. And now, granted, tomorrow night, I'm going to be driving into Los Angeles because I'm doing a QAF reunion on Thursday with some of my cast members and the execs who did the show. And I'm pretty damn sure I'm not going to have to drive through rubble or fire to get there. And I'm pretty damn sure nobody's going to shut down the fucking freeway or the roads for me to get into fucking Hollywood from the valley. And I will, by the way, I will live stream my area and as much of the gathering that we're having as I possibly can for you guys. But like, if you're showing me the same piece of footage over and over again, I call bullshit. I'll be careful of invasion. Right, I might be charged with invasion because I look sketchy.
Burning their own cities just to prove.
With burning their own cities. Dude is hitting a fucking like a LiDAR system on a Waymo with a skateboard. Simmer the fuck down. This is a flip-flop and skateboard invasion. The two motorcycles we saw, one was an off-roader and the other one was like a scooter you'd use to get back and forth across college campuses.
To their bloodthirsty base, that they're fighting
more skateboards
in the streets, burning their own cities for power.
Oh, by the way, I forget, there was one, I think even Cenk fucked this one up, when Rittenhouse was attacked, and he fired back. And again, when Kyle Rittenhouse did what he did, he was a minor who, if he'd been carrying a handgun, probably would have not been attacked, but he was carrying an overt arm, and he drew the attention of a child predator and a couple of other dudes who thought it was time to pick a fight. And then when it happened, it went down. And one person went to strike him with a skateboard. And there was a lot of jokes made at the time, and I made a couple of them, about, you know, the dude was swinging with a skateboard or whatever. But anybody who's ever ridden on an actual skateboard, or like a decent one, not some like kid one, the wheels and there's kind of like this, I don't know, the undercarriage of it, where what would be the axle between the wheels, for lack of a better phrase, there's like a knot there of metal, and you can use it to wonk somebody over the head. And that's what that guy was attempting to do. That's what this guy is doing it. So somebody being attacked with a skateboard is no joke. Just start there. The trucks, thank you. But they won't know what the trucks are. You guys know, okay, some of you do. But I was trying to describe it for people, right? That don't actually ride a skateboard, right? You know what I'm talking about? So like it can anybody who, and many of the people who are saying trucks right now, you guys know that can be a massive weapon. If you whack somebody with the trucks of a skateboard, there's a big metal ball under there that you could really do some damage with. And this guy, more than likely, that's what he's busting the windows with. See that? He's hitting the windows with it, and it's not the wheels that are doing it. The wheels have a little give, but the piece of metal that holds it there, that's what's breaking the window. And you hit somebody in the head with that, it's fucked up.
Deporting thousands of illegals from Democrat states, when the census gets done, subtracts congressional seats. One of the groups behind
from Texas
riots, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, is a taxpayer-funded group that happened to get millions of dollars from the Biden administration. And they also have ties to the communist Chinese.
Do they?
This is a taxpayer-funded riot with foreign fingerprints.
Great. Explain those immediately.
And the violence isn't spontaneous. Democrats let 10 million illegals into the country.
Nope. Okay, so all the illegals that are in here in the country now were let in by Democrats. Gotcha. Including the ones that happened during Bush and Reagan, and that he gave amnesty to, and Bush 1 and Bush 2 and Trump.
It's the Gestapo for enforcing the law Americans chose at the ballot box.
By the way, see these scooters? See these fucking things? These like rentable powered scooters? That's what they're throwing at these vehicles. They're pulling them and throwing them. I gotta say, charging stations for your own scooter, great. But these things have been in most major cities. All they are is a way to traffic drugs. Seriously. There's like some tourist groups that like them, and they were brought over from Europe, but they're fucking terrible. Yes, they're very heavy and they're dangerous, and idiots get wiped out on them all the time or get hit by cars. We had a little kid killed at an intersection over here on one of them not too long ago, and there's flowers at the intersection about 5 blocks from our house. But that's what they're throwing these things on them. Yeah. And a lot of times it's just drug delivery systems, I got to tell you. And fucking bikes, like ride a bike. If it's natural and healthy, ride a bike.
Top leaders want to abolish ICE. And their mayor was giving cops stand-down orders. And they're suing Trump for doing
Also, again, what do you mean stand down? They keep saying this. They bring this phrase up. What do you mean? She told them not to shoot protesters, not to open fire. They didn't stand down. They didn't leave. They didn't pull back. Fuck off.
Elected to do. A Democrat senator says he wants to see riots all across the country.
Obviously, this is a moment where we have to be on the streets all over the country to protest.
Yeah, that's protesting.
What's happening to our immigrant community, but more broadly to protest what's happening to our democracy. This is the most corrupt administration in the...
Yeah, run that by me again, Jesse dipshit. What was the phrase again that he said? What Chris Murphy say?
But more broadly over the country to protest...
Country.
This is a moment where we have to be on the streets all over the country to protest what's happening to our immigrant.
To protest.
Community, but more broadly to protest what's happening to our democracy. This is the most corrupt administration.
Yeah, rioting is not protest, never has been, never will be.
In the history of the country, and we are going to rise to this moment by being out there on the streets.
Trump's now sending 700 Marines into LA just to give the...
For what? So they can shoot people from helicopters?
National Guard some backup. He's not taking any chances.
This guy it clearly came straight from Home Depot. Really? You brought a ball-peen hammer?
Democrats are saying this won't stop until ICE leaves.
I think that if ICE left, I think if the National Guard left, you would see this all die down.
Yeah, you would.
They're extorting us. They're promising to keep rioting if we don't stop deporting.
Wait, promising what? She can't promise on behalf of anybody. This is a genuine opinion. She's of course right.
Mass migration has ruined civilizations.
You mean like the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria?
And one side is trying to save civilization, and the other side's letting it burn.
Civilization is now driverless cars. I'm sorry. I feel those things are uncivilized.
In a sick way, it's good the country sees this. This is the hardcore reality of mass migration from the third world. It's easy to let them in, but hard to let them leave. The question you have to ask...
It's hard to let them leave? I think he means make.
Is the civilization worth saving? I think it is. There are millions of people in the country who don't. And that makes me question the patriotism of my own countrymen.
That guy's peeing. He just drank a lot last night. He's just peeing on that, and it's catching fire.
We either have a border or we don't.
We have a border.
Laws or we don't.
We have laws. Although Trump shouldn't have been able to serve again, but you didn't give a shit about that one.
A country or we don't.
We have a country. I'm glad we could settle that. Yeah. And yes, Mexico is not the third world. Neither is like Brazil or Venezuela or any of these places. I would argue they're in some cases, Guatemala might be lower second world, if that's how you want to do it, but it's just stupid.
Time to choose a side.
It is. You got to choose a side, which apparently is, I don't know, what if you're, I like my laws enforced, but I don't want the military enforcing them, versus I think it's important to protest, but I don't like people burning shit because I don't believe they're actual protesters. Is that a side? I think it is. I'm going to count it as a side. The Sparks doctrine is that assigning rioting to protest is as stupid as the phrase date rape. There is no such thing as date rape, because once the rape starts, date's over. That is a euphemism, and it's grotesque. It was just a planned rape that the other person didn't realize was coming their way. That it was just a sneakier form of rape. It's not date rape. And the same thing with this. If you're rioting, you're not protesting. If you're masked, you're not protesting. Protesting means I'm standing up for what I believe in front of God and humanity, and, come what may. Also, if you get arrested at one of these things, don't fight at all. Go alone. That's why you went there. If anything, apologize to the cops that they have to go through that, because, look, buddy, I'm just fighting for our rights too. You're doing what you're doing. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to fight you on this. I came down here knowing I would be breaking the law, and it's not you in person, in particular, that I have a problem with. I have no idea who you are and what your assignment is here or how seriously you do. And if a protester got shot or harmed, if you'd be the person who'd run out and give them medical care, which all of them are legally obligated to do, by the way, which is why Derek Chauvin belongs in jail more so than whether, fentanyl played a part in that circumstance or not. If you don't give medical care when it's needed and you're capable of doing it, you're participating in the death of another human being. So I'll just leave that there. But if you're going to get arrested, get arrested with a big smile on your face. Don't do any harm to anybody. And fighting it, at that point, you went there, motherfucker. You will get your due process. And in your due process, you will make your case. And if anybody wouldn't hire you because you protested this kind of thing, why do you, because you have that on your record, then do you want to work for that person? We've talked about this a couple times, but I know I lost work being on the show Queer as Folk. No question. There were producers who told my manager and my agent they couldn't hire me because of Queer as Folk. That was the thing. Couldn't. Of course they could. Wouldn't is the word. But they would get shit, or they would, they would catch hell from the producers, or they would believe it would be harmed, or whatever. And my response was, okay. I didn't quit the show. I knew what I was getting into, and I don't want to work for bigots. Good. Of course it limited my work. That's what made it historic. That's what made it fucking important. Same thing with these things. If you're going to go down there and you get arrested, if you get arrested, say nothing except I want a lawyer. All right. Well, again, you're not there committing that kind of a crime. You're being videotaped. You were witnessed in doing this. You're not going to talk yourself into a worse sentence. You're going to be released on bond even if you talk shit the whole time. How is that, a lifetime ban? Yeah, practically. Yes. Do you think Eric McCormick faced the same issue? No. Because they had one kiss total on that show. It was cute. It was like working with... It's, again, a sitcom is not the same thing. No. Different standard entirely. Yeah. So, anyways, point is, if you're going to go down there and do that, then suck it up and stand for what you believe in. Show your face. If you get arrested for a good reason. That's what good trouble is about. But if somebody shows up at one of these gatherings and, wearing a fucking Palestinian wrap around their fucking face, or a mask, or a fucking skull, whatever, like one of those pull-down masks, balalaika. Balalaika is a guitar. A balaclava. If you're going to wear that, then fuck you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you're really here, and I don't trust that you're not going to start shit and make everybody look bad. And again, I come from a position where I don't have a choice. If I want to do the shit I want to do in my life, I got to do it face forward. As a known entity and as a person who, as an actor and a comedian and stuff, I can't fucking create a cartoon version of the show and hide behind it and then eventually have it come out that I was too afraid to speak my mind, so I did that. Like, fuck that. Either you stand up for what you believe in, or stay the fuck home, because you're making it worse. Balaclava sounds good right now. Not a baklava. Yeah, right, that's different. Yeah, you're in LA, there's no riots where you are. Of course there aren't. It's in a 2-block area. Wear my finger mask. I have my middle finger mask, that's good. But I would wear a shirt that has my name on the front of it. Because I believe in standing up for what I believe in. I'm not, I feel like and I think the more serious a situation is, the more responsibility you have to show your face. For real. A baklava balalaika. A baklava balaclava. That would be itchy, I think. So yeah, hashtag RIP LA. All right, now, but the idea that's been going around is that supposedly that it's probably that same organization that that Jesse Waters was talking about. They all got the same, according to CSL's pull of clips today. It looks like they all got the same memo.
All right, if you're a Californian, the current LA riot.
I am a Californian.
Our example is an example of your tax dollars at work. Here's why I can say that with real confidence.
Because nothing says real confidence like that shirt. Sorry, did you win that in a leg wrestling match with Dinesh D'Souza?
Start here.
Did Debbie give you that?
For Human Immigrant Rights.
Yeah, that's the same organization.
CHIRLA, CHIRLA, one of the key players in fomenting the violent response to immigration enforcement actions over the weekend. Last hour, if you missed any of today's podcast, make sure you go back and listen.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. No. Don't make me do more work. Say what you're gonna say, dipshit.
I went through who these people were that we rounded up. They were violent extremist, rapist, burglars, people that have...
First of all, who's we, motherfucker?
Eaten up their wives, doing cruel things to children, you name it. That's...
No, not you name it. And again, I specifically, there's a portion of those people that are like that, and that's what Trump promised. But scooping up people who are just in fucking, parking lots, picking up like construction jobs and doing roofing when it's 100 degrees out is not what he promised. And again, wasn't going to even be a priority in this regard. So
this is all really about, okay? This is not about scooping up people in the middle of the night.
It is about scooping up people in the middle of the night. It's exactly that.
So who's...
Christina says humans aren't illegals. Again, I got to tell you guys, this is a language fight. This is a jargon issue that nobody cares about. Nicknaming them illegals because they're here illegally is something that any country would do. And again, even when you're there legally in China, they call you a Waigoran, which is an outsider. It's even worse than foreigner. It's, again, not a fight worth having. It doesn't matter. Because even in, quote, if you're going to call them an illegal, you've got to argue that they have to have due process. So you can prove that.
CHIRLA. Well, it's an LA-based nonprofit. They take radical positions on immigration. For example...
Radical!
It led the 2018 campaign to abolish ICE. It currently leads the Los Angeles...
By the way, not to be confused with Shane Churla, who is a hockey player. He's a former hockey player. He used to play for, who was it? Was it the Maple Leafs? Anyways, okay.
Rapid Response Network, which gathers intel about enforcement actions and deploys activists to respond to, in other words, to put our police officers and ICE federal agents in danger by exposing them in advance. They also have strong ties.
Hold on. Run that by me again, dipshit. I want to show you guys something in a second.
To put our police officers... Response Network, which gathers intel about enforcement actions and deploys activists to respond to, in other words, to put our police officers and ICE federal agents in danger by exposing them in advance.
All right. Again, exposing them, really, they more than likely, when they get a hint of that shit, they tell it so everybody can beat feet. People don't hunker down in fucking apartment buildings when they know ICE is coming. They bug out.
Have strong ties to the Democrat Party.
Right, but yeah, exactly. Now you give a shit about the police? Hey, who was it that didn't allow them to get a heads up on Jan 6, I guess?
California, they have supported the election of Democrat candidates throughout its lobby.
How did you see Trump's trousers, oh dear?
Arm and throughout its history. It has a really close relationship with Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. The organization also has a close relationship with organized labor in the state. Now, wait a minute. You don't mean like SEIU. I'll have Jason give me an update on SEIU, the head guy of SEIU. If you followed me back when we were on Fox and back in those days on radio, you know the role of SEIU and how bad this organization really is. They are...
Oh, unions, terrible.
I believe they are just insurrectionists through and through.
They are insurrectionists.
Communist through and through.
Oh, there's a catheter in his pants? Oh, okay. Hold on. Trump... possible catheter pants. Oh, dear God. This is going to... Trump wearing a Foley catheter? Okay, hold on. Images. Oh. Oh, yeah, so he's got one running down his leg. Is that the idea? Is Trump wearing a Foley catheter or... Ew. Yeah, there's okay, this is okay, so this is the idea on Blue Sky that he was at the UFC and he was wearing he had a little catheter thing sticking out here, and that's how it works. They pin it to your leg and then you pee in a bag because you like piss yourself. Maybe he and Musk were having dueling ketamine, like a ket-off, as it were. And apparently it's not just there. There was another shot of him on the lawn earlier. Yeah, this is on Reddit. Hold on, let me see. Trump's pants at the... Lumps in Trump's pants revive health concerns. A speculation of leg braces grows after tumbling upstairs. Oh, and that's where people are like, nah, it's not. He's not wearing leg braces. He's got a fucking catheter taped to his legs, and he's got two of them in case he has to switch bags on a flight. I mean, he could have like bands on his legs for stuff. Trump suggests me wearing leg braces based on a photo because he stumbled. Their Patriot takes what's going on here. Yeah. Exoskeleton leg braces. That's what everybody's throwing around there. Leg braces appears though he had a catheter in as well. Yeah, that's what it looks like more to me. And then they have either a backup or he just has the other tube running out the other way. I don't know. Ew. That's once for his ass.
That's
oh
my
no.
Opinion. The organization also has a close relationship with the organized labors, which in turn, they become a major financial supporter of Democratic politicians. On Friday, Churla held a rally protesting ISIS enforcement actions and the arrest of the SEIU president for obstruction. Now, the incredible part is that Churla's
U.S. citizen
activities are primarily funded by you if you are a taxpayer in California. We have obtained a financial audit shows that for fiscal year ending 2023, run by Singham is also behind Jing kind of script. He made his wealth by selling IT software business to an investment firm partially owned by the Communist Party in China. He is a major funder of a group called the People's Forum.
Which is different than Penthouse Forum. I'm just saying. I mean, I never thought it would happen to me, but
People's Forum. Well, they're not hiding in plain sight there. Below are excerpts from a very long expose that Just the News published in March this year. Hang on, I'm just reading my notes from.
Great. Well, yeah, we got it.
Jason, meet the pro-CCP Marxist revolutionary group behind the Mohammed Khalil protests of 3/20/25. Jason, remind me who...
Sorry, Churla's behind Mohammed Khalil?
Mahmoud Khalil is. He was the guy, Columbia University, that set all that off. Give us a quick thumbnail of him.
That's it. Yeah, he was one of the central figures when they were, shutting down Columbia. There was a much larger, group, which we will go into later, that were doing this thing called Shut It Down for Palestine. Again, another tie to social...
Jason Buttrill, that's unfortunate, head writer and researcher for Glenn Beck, who used to work for an Intel, used to be in the intelligence services, which shouldn't send up anyone's radar at all in MAGA-land.
Marxists, for some weird, odd reason, heavy focus on Maoism in particular.
Of course.
But yeah, that's definitely who that guy was, and that's also who the Trump administration was looking to deport.
So the People's Forum has been a driving force behind the protests condemning the detention and possible deportation of the pro-Palestinian Columbia graduate student.
Yes, Jason Butt Drill.
Khalil.
Yeah.
There are scores of videos posted by the forum on social media detailing the group's role in organizing, promoting, attending, and leading all of the pro-Khalil protests. They did a rally outside the courthouse. They did a sit-in at Trump Tower. Khalil's legal team has addressed the crowd at a protest organized by the forum. This is all from that American.
This is all legal. I don't know.
Billionaire that now lives in China. The forum is led by a guy named Milano de los Santos.
Sorry. First of all, I got so hooked on the Milanos idea that is he a dark chocolate Milano or is he another? But then just Glenn Beck trying to pronounce foreign names I didn't realize I was going to have that little bit of joy.
Saying that as white as a white man can possibly say it, because that's who I am. Also, personally tweeted
Sorry, as a white man, no. You've lost your white man card. I can kick you the fuck out anytime I want.
Times to promote the forum-led protest for Khalil. Major patron for the People's Forum is the communist businessman Neville Roy Singham.
Yes, Neville Roy Singham sounds very Chinese communist to me.
For months, we've been the target of a campaign that alleges our funding comes from dark money. A few years ago, we met Roy Singham, a Marxist comrade who sold his company and donated most of his wealth to nonprofits that focus on political education, culture, and internationalism. This is from the People's Forum.
Cool.
Singham married Jody Evans. Who is Jody Evans?
I don't know. Where's your chalkboard?
She's the co-founder of the radical left-wing group Code Pink. Her group touts itself as anti-war, but it's also very pro-China and very very anti-Israel, strangely pro-Islamists. The New York Times reported that Singham works in Shanghai. That is,
Code Pink's always coming out on behalf of the Houthis.
Are linked to the Chinese Communist Party. This is from the New York Times.
Oh, so it's definitely fake news.
He has attended at least one CCP workshop on promoting the party globally. The New York Times also reported that he provides backing for the People's Forum. The Free Beacon has reported that key leaders for the forum serve in top position at.
The Free Beacon, isn't that that's the newspaper that paid Christopher Steele to create the dossier that they later decided they didn't want to print because it was because Trump was in the lead at that point, and then Christopher Steele sold it to the Clinton campaign, and they were like, okay, we can't run with this, it's too gross, and we think we're going to beat him anyways. And so he was like, but there's crimes in this, and he took it to the FBI, and one of the lawyers that was working for Clinton was like, yeah, I agree, there's fucking crimes here, let me know if I can help you. And they're like, conspiracy. Yeah, that guy.
Justice and Education Fund. The Free Beacon also reported that the network run by Singham is also behind Breakthrough Media and Dongsheng News, who both push pro-China narratives and whose content is reshared by the forum here in the United States. Free Press also reported that Singham and Evans have donated over $20 million to the People's Forum from 2017 to 2022 through a series of shell organizations and donor advisory groups, accounting for nearly all of the group's funding.
Okay, and you do realize is every member of the people is the majority of the people that are actually showing up at this thing, are they on the fucking mailing list of this organization or part of it? No, they are absolutely not. They had little to do, especially with the rioting part of it. If you could argue, they were the ones that gathered in that park where there was no fighting.
Free Beacon also reported in 2024 the People's Forum had encouraged anti-Israel activists to recreate the violent protests of the summer of 2020, just hours before the rioters stormed and occupied a building at Columbia University campus.
Fabulous. I'm riveted.
Well, this weekend's
is
immigration.
So stupid. Okay, hold on. Meanwhile, can I show you this? This is KTLA. This is from the actual news in here. Let's see.
This led to dozens of arrests, with a handful of law enforcement officers injured.
And California is taking legal action over President Trump's National Guard deployment. Kimberly Chang is live in downtown LA with an update for us. Hi, Kimberly.
Lou, Glenn, hi. Just in the last 20 minutes or so, we've seen this.
Kimberly, you couldn't get a tighter blue shirt? I mean, look, I realize this is your moment, but good Lord, woman. Bless your heart.
Group really gathered behind us of protesters. They're telling us that this is members of clergy who have gathered here to protest the National Guard presence. Now we're going to take a pan over to our left where you can see the National Guard presence here in front of a federal building. And I do want to apologize in advance if you see any expletives on the wall. There's a lot of graffiti on these buildings. I want to mention that CNN...
Yes, teach those buildings a lesson, everyone. Yes. Show those buildings who's boss.
Reported that 500
it is LA, right? It is. Yeah, I know.
Marines based out of the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center have been mobilized and are planning to join the National Guard troops that were activated.
Hippies. It's like literally like this idea that it's a fucking invasion. And they're like, I just got down here from Topanga and my blood sugar is going into the toilet. To quote Richard Jennings, someone get me what is it? Somebody get me a vegan meal and a motivational cassette tape.
By President Trump over the weekend. Okay, we're hearing a lot of screaming, so our photographer is kind of moving forward to see what is going on beyond this large crowd here. If you could take us back live. We're hearing a lot of noise. We're seeing some things being thrown in the air at a vehicle that just drove by toward the federal building. Now back here live, you can see as we...
Yeah, great job, guys. Yeah, you don't know who's in there. You know what they're doing. You don't know if they're on your side or not. Yeah, throw shit. There's one of those words that she was saying, be careful, you might see a bad word. Long hair, freaky people. That's right.
The scene here, large crowd has gathered here in downtown Los Angeles.
That's not nice.
LAPD here right in front of us. And just down the street, again, this crowd protests.
There's some slim people in there.
National Guard troops just down the street. Okay, we're going to move out of the roadway here because you can see the
because it's a roadway?
Vehicle coming in, protesters surrounding these vehicles that are coming in to this area right now. And you can see some people right now kicking and throwing things. We're going to move back. We're going to move back. We're going to move back. We see people with objects that they're throwing and hitting these vehicles, which look like federal vehicles that are going in here toward the federal building.
They're going to come snatch you up. What are you doing? You're hitting them with an umbrella. Simmer down. Yeah, that'll do it. Boom. They were never prepared for that. Dude with like a sleeveless weed shirt. Totally an invasion.
We're trying to take a step
back. You guys got to take this seriously. These are the ICBMs of umbrellas.
So you guys can see this scene, but we want to stay safe as well. I'm trying to watch our photographer here.
Yeah, because he's going to hit the truck and it's going to bounce back and hit somebody behind him like a stupid Three Stooges sketch.
As he's giving you these images, you can see here, U.S. Customs and Border Protection vehicles driving in towards the federal building here. And just a few seconds ago, you see people throwing things and hitting these cars that are trying to make their way in.
They also yelled dirty words.
And a lot of expletives being shouted right now.
Not a lot of them. I gotta say, as someone with a relatively high expletive count on the internet, I'm gonna go with one. I heard one. Yeah. Did you see the ice court in San Francisco, Hal? The outside of it, you mean? Or do they have cameras inside? Because if it's the outside, yes.
Earlier this morning, there were smaller groups. This group really just gathered here in the last 30 minutes or so.
Why they always got to film heavy women when she's saying it was a smaller group earlier, or this is a big crowd? Did you notice that? Am I the only person noticing this? Is it just my eye for irony?
You guys... of course, they have been protesting the ongoing ICE raised. Right now, they're shouting.
Yeah, that's fine. There you go. Yell shame, all that kind of stuff. Don't strike the vehicles. There's no point to it anyways. You're not going to have an impact, except you're going to fuck it up for everybody.
Hear them shouting shame as the U.S. Customs and Border Protection vehicles are trying to make their way in right now. Earlier, I spoke with a woman.
Yeah, make sure you get it on film.
Who said that they were planning.
We want proof that this happened.
Holding peaceful protests out here. She said that there were members of clergy out here and they wanted to remain peaceful.
Yeah, this is the issue that people have. It's like these fucking trucks.
Let me see if we could walk.
And I will say there's like, I guess that's one of the clergy. Let's just assume, because he's dressed like a clergyman that would be talked to by a detective in a 1950s police drama in downtown Los Angeles where they're looking for somebody in a flop house that the church sets up. That he's one of the guys who went out there and stopped people from hitting the vehicles with shit.
And try and grab. Let's go this way. Let's walk this way, bro. I'm trying to guide Rolo here so you can see what's happening here in the crowd as we try to make our way to speak to.
Yeah, some cars are coming from the east and some cars are coming. It's very. This is
one of the organs.
It's devastating. Tell us, Glenn, how our tax dollars are destroying the world.
These are some of the people that are involved. Again, you also have the federal government involved. DHS under Mayorkas was also helping fund. I think it was Churla, wasn't it?
Churla.
Yeah. Tell me that connection.
Churla.
Churla.
I just lost it on my notes too.
Ah, damn it! You had it. It was right there. Something about Churla. Was it any relation to children's? By the way, here's this is Churla's website, in case you want to know. Know your rights. Conoce tus derechos. Give today. Annual membership drive. Become a member. Know your rights presentations. Notice of class action settlement. This is their number. There's the legal assistance if you need it. And plaidoyer. Access to labor, legal service, worker abuse protection. So if people are, and again, I got to say, most of the people who are protesting the sweeps are protesting, ironically enough, against sweatshops. Conoce? Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't speak Spanish. So, conoce. So, anyway, student services, deportation defense. This, by the way, having an organization like this in Los Angeles is not a surprise at all. How to prepare for the next climate disaster. All right, that's okay. Yes to immigrants forward. We urge the Biden administration and Congress. Okay, this is obviously, they have not updated this since we switched over. Know your rights, which is fine. Churla's been serving and protecting the immigrant community since 1986. Right, this isn't new. They weren't invented. There's their office. They got a newsletter. They got info@churla.org. The Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, founded in LA in 1986. Okay, this is right about the time of the Reagan amnesty, I would argue, right? That's about the time. Conoce tus derechos. Better? I'm trying. Look at that kid, the Punim. Look how old he is now. That kid is this age now. You want to feel old? All right, anyways. Philly fans are, yes, absolutely. There's more worse shit during a post LA Lakers win than this. So now, let's see, we'll jump into here. Where is this? Medialized debunked. This is okay. And this is the LA riots are insane. This is what's really happening. This is 11 hours ago. So
we're just going to go over just some of the videos that you might have seen, or maybe even missed some of these. Here's first.
Why would I have seen any one particular video if the whole fucking city is on fire? Why wouldn't I see? Why wouldn't I would be too busy looking at new videos to see the old videos. Why would anybody play? Motherfucker.
Our U.S. Border Patrol agents under fire.
Under fire. Under fire. Yes, Richard Jennings Kirk was genius. Yeah.
Cut one. Okay, so they're in there.
Yeah, I'm guessing these guys are less worried about it than the guys outside, I would think, right?
Humvee or whatever it is.
That was the sound of an umbrella hitting the side. That's, by the way, that's the sound of the cops firing like either 40 mics or tear gas.
All right. It's got to be great going into Los Angeles, trying to do your job and feeling this. They're all in gas masks. Now, cut to, this is...
Yes, that was terrifying. You can't just go right to the next video. I'm overwhelmed with fear.
The vehicle capturing the aftermath of the Border Patrol vehicle as it's struck by objects. Here is cut number 2.
Yeah, they're driving under the underpass. That's where people were dropping shit on there. Right. He's not wearing a gas mask, though, because he's not near the actual event. This is probably under that overpass where they were chucking the bikes off.
You see the broken windshield up in front. All right. Cut 3. These are 4.
Terrifying. I mean, you could show us a giant crater where LA used to be, because obviously it was burned to the ground, but a busted window.
Flags. And the chanting on the streets of California. And there, of course, is the Party City Hamas flag. See that one? What are they chanting? I'm a lunatic. I'm a lunatic. You and me, we're lunatics. What was it?
Yeah, again, peaceful protesters walking in line with signs and flags. Yes, be still, my beating heart.
Notice, we're going to get into this next hour. Play that again. Keep playing that. You'll notice there's a sign that they're carrying, and you'll see it here in just a second. Right there. Chirla. CHIRLA. Yes. We're going to get into what that is.
Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights, Los Angeles.
Here in just a second. But it is important that you understand they're telling you who they are.
Yes, that's part of being part of a protest. That's why would I say don't wear masks. Jesus Christ.
And we're going to get into that here in just a minute. Here are some rioters that are hurling rocks at the federal convoy. Again, just throwing some rocks at everything.
Unbelievable. I mean, these people could easily be killed by this. You're throwing a rock at someone coming by you at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, no. You're not going to kill someone in a truck with a rock you threw.
Goes through the windshield. It's going to kill the person.
It's not going to go through the windshield. That's not happening.
Yeah. So let's go to the next one. Here's CNN, and how peaceful it is.
At this point, this has been very peaceful, Brian. It has been tense at some points, but we haven't seen any violence happening here. What people are saying is that they don't think ICE belongs in Los Angeles, that they want ICE out of the city.
Yeah, this is the dance party part of the riot. This is the Beat Street riot. Sorry. Yeah. Zoot Suit riot? Maybe. Beat Street, right? Beat Street, the king of the beat. I see you rocking that beat from across the street. Beat Street is a lesson too, because you can't let the street beat you.
Well, you can.
That's right. That's right. I know. I know the soundtrack of Beat Street.
Is that the standard, Glenn?
Don't get me started on the the Last Dragon. All right.
No, it's really not.
It's a peace because peaceful. To me, indicates a bunch of people standing around not committing any crimes, right?
Yeah. Yes, where she was, no one was committing any crimes. That's what she means. Where she was. She was not talking about what's happening elsewhere. She has no way of knowing what's happening elsewhere. But where she is, they're asking her, how is it down by you? And she's saying, here it's been relatively peaceful. And we'll see. Right. Again, fuck you, Jan 6 assholes.
Maybe walking down the street. This is them blocking a freeway. She's standing in the middle of what seems like a freeway, right?
She's not standing in the middle of what seems like a freeway.
Stopping all this traffic, terrifying the people that couldn't get through.
Yes, we're all terrified when this happens. I know personally.
Right. And then
because they weren't. Do you realize? Do you have? I mean, I guess that Waymo car that was empty because everybody got out of it and left it in the middle of the street was essentially, I think, what happened was they abandoned the Waymo. That's why they set it on fire. But I don't see any civilian cars being hit by anything so far. They've been pretty goddamn selective.
Mostly peaceful.
It's mostly peaceful. And then, like, just down the street, things are on fire and they're throwing rocks at...
By the way, how are these assholes about the Bundy Ranch standoff where those guys said, we need women in front so that they can shoot the women and give us a reason to kill some feds? And then they had snipers on the ridge that were putting beads on the foreheads of the Bureau of Land Management folks that were down there. How was Glenn and everybody at the Blase about that one?
People passing by at 40 miles an hour. That's not mostly peaceful. That's just not, it's not the standard. You know, like it's
also you're cutting from different areas. If she was there, she would have said, these people are throwing rocks. This is dangerous. We're going to step back like the other lady did. Right. But where she was, you're cutting shit together and creating a false narrative. This is what you would call, what's the phrase I'm looking for? A fake news.
It's easy to be.
Stu, you're a liar. That's all. I'm just going to say it outright. Stu and Glenn are lying. There are areas where there was rioting going on. There were peaceful protests going on. Where that woman was, it was mostly peaceful. That was the point that she was making because she can't see past human lengths of vision or around corners. So she was saying what she saw. They were asking, they had other people around. And when they cut to those people, they were like, oh, there's some people hitting cars with their umbrella and gee whiz, we should all duck for cover. But where she was telling the truth. But you are cutting those things together and saying where I am, it's mostly peaceful, is her lying about what was happening blocks and blocks away because you have no fucking idea about where things are in Los Angeles.
Peaceful most of the time. Most criminals are,
so
I would assume.
Let me, I don't know how you are defining the word mostly, but let me help you out. Hiroshima.
Okay.
Hiroshima, 1945.
Fuck you.
It was mostly moderate temperatures, except for that one spike for just a little short period of time on that one day. But it was mostly moderate temperatures. I don't know.
I would make a radiation reference if you were going to say something has a lasting impact on something, and you would say that up to that point, the radiation levels in that area were normal, and then once it was struck, the radiation levels became unlivable for a very long time. Just fucking gross.
Dan, what here is...
And by the way, like 2 blocks of people throwing shit, or rando dudes in a city of 7 million people throwing shit at cars and thinking they can get away with it is not fucking Hiroshima, you tit.
Here is Karen Bass, the Los Angeles communist mayor. Here's what she's saying.
And frankly, I'm just outraged because what happened is that when ICE went in, they just took people away. And we just can't have this in our city. And it happened multiple places in the city. And what it does is that it sows a sense of terror throughout the community. For example, location.
Stop. So I just want to make sure, remind you, one of the guys that they arrested was inserting foreign objects into people forcefully. Yeah,
she's saying you can go after those guys. That's what you said you were there for. But rolling up in 10 trucks to get that guy, what the fuck are you doing?
I think that's called rape.
Sorry.
Myself.
National Director of Nuclear Intelligence warning breaking. DNI nuke warning? Hold on. Why are they worried about U.S. increasing worry that Iran is poised to build nukes. Israel prepares for Iran attack amid warnings the regime is close to having a nuclear weapon unnerving. That's 24. That's the latest news I'm seeing.
I don't know. I'm not an L.A. prosecutor, so I don't know what they call it there. But it should sow some terror into the minds of people like that. We're coming to get you. But that's not the average person in California. And if it is, I remind you, don't go to Disneyland. For the love of God, go to Florida. At least maybe you won't have things inserted inside of you if that's...
Jesus Christ. Fuck off. Oh, Tulsi put out a propaganda video. I see. Gotcha. Hold on. Let's see. DNI, Gabbard. Da-da-da. Let's see if the filters today. Donald Trump's crazy national intelligence chief claims nuclear wars. Is this the...
Stand here today, closer to the brink of nuclear annihilation than ever before. Political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between nuclear powers. Perhaps it's because they are confident that they will have access to nuclear shelters for themselves and for their families that regular people won't have access to.
Jesus Christ. Is this her basically saying, like, leave Russia alone? Is that what that is? What the fuck? Is that on the White House's page or the DNI's page? Okay, maybe it's this week. How about that? How about this month? I don't know why that's separate. Maybe, I don't know, CSL, if we can dig that up, her thing, that like the long form of that without the excess music.
Average Californians behave. We have Jason Buttrill with us.
It's pronounced butt drill.
Jason, you're watching all of this. What jumps out to you?
Specifically the claims of spontaneous grassroots. It's just it's a natural response, to society when something this terrifying happens. But then they all have this one weird ideology blended with another one, which is very, very strange. Like when, it's just kind of a crazy coincidence that they're all socialists, communists, Marxists with a little hint of Islamism. That's just
really?
I don't, does anything ever weird?
All right. Again, that's like saying, it's odd, but every time I see Republicans march on a building, they either gather. Thank you for that, CSL. They're either partnered with white supremacists or Confederates. So this is the Jesus Christ. On her visit to Hiroshima. So this is okay. So this is 9 hours ago. What the fuck kind of image is this? This is on her page?
I recently visited Hiroshima in Japan and stood at the epicenter of a city that remains scarred by the unimaginable horror caused by a single nuclear bomb dropped.
And I didn't get superpowers, I'm sorry to tell everyone.
In 1945, 80 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to find the words to express what I saw, the stories that I heard, the haunting.
Oh my God. Sorry, when does the Hallmark movie begin filming?
Sadness that still remains. This is an experience that will stay with me forever. This attack obliterated the city, killed over 300,000 people, many dying instantly while others died from severe burns, injuries, radiation sickness, and cancer that set in the following months and years.
Mm-hmm.
Nagasaki suffered the same fate. Homes, schools, families, all gone in a flash.
Great. Now do Nanjing around the same time. Same death numbers, but all by hand.
Survivors, the hibakusha, they carried the pain of extreme burns, radiation sickness, and loss for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Survivors of this attack were asked to put in paintings and drawings their own memories and how they felt and what they saw, and those paintings and the suffering that they conveyed, the pain and the sense of loss were almost more powerful than the photos themselves.
Yeah, it's almost like it would be really a huge mistake to put someone like Donald Trump or Pete Hegseth in charge of weapons that are 10 to 20 times more devastating than the one that was dropped on Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Hey!
Yet this one bomb that caused so much destruction on Hiroshima was tiny compared to today's nuclear bombs. The bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima.
By the way, I thought this music playing in the background was added by somebody else to like ratchet up how fucking ridiculous this is. This is embarrassing.
Had a yield of just 15 kilotons of TNT, whereas today's nuclear warheads range in size.
By the way, don't buy the sympathy act that she gives a rat fuck about what happened to Japan in the fucking 40s. This is Russian propaganda about don't push us or we'll have to use our nukes and you don't want that.
It's from 100 kilotons to over 1 megaton. A single nuclear weapon today could kill millions in just minutes. Just one of these nuclear bombs would
what the fuck?
Vaporize everything at its core. People, buildings, life itself.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're against it.
Shockwave would crush structures miles away, killing and maiming countless people. And then comes the fallout. Radioactive poison spreading through the air, water, and soil, condemning survivors to agonizing deaths or lifelong suffering.
And?
A nuclear winter could follow, with smoke and ash completely blocking the sun, plunging the world into darkness and cold, killing crops.
Right, which is why almost nobody seriously wants to use these things. So, but is this now them justifying like, look, Russia's not going to do this, and we're clearly not going to do this, and maybe if India and Pakistan do this, it'll be in the desert where nobody gives a shit. But what if Iran gets one? We got to kill them first. That's what this also feels like.
Acid rain would scar the earth, wiping out entire ecosystems.
Oh, now you give a shit about ecosystems?
This isn't some.
What about the slow damage being done by pollution? Are you as concerned about that? No, because it's not exciting. And why is this kid drinking acid rain or trying to lick a snowflake like a Peanuts kid?
Science fiction story. This is the reality of what's at stake. What we are.
Yeah, we know.
Facing now, because as we stand here today, closer to the brink of nuclear annihilation than ever before.
That's not true at all. That's so fucking not true.
Political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between nuclear powers. Perhaps it's because they are confident that they will have access to nuclear shelters for themselves and for their families.
Get the fuck out of here. Nobody's like, fuck it. Let's have a nuclear war. I'm going to live in a bunker for 100 years. Jesus Christ. Fuck you, lady. Hold on. Where is it?
Could easily be accomplished with a computer.
That regular people won't have access to.
Listen to the fucking violin music in the background.
So it's up to us, the people, to speak up and demand an end to this madness. We must reject this path to nuclear war and work toward a world where no one has to live in fear of a nuclear holocaust.
Okay, total nuclear deproliferation, I guess starting with the United States. You are the DNI. What the shit? What the hell was that? This is, yeah, go show those bombs who's boss. This is let me be abundantly good. This is Russian propaganda. That's what this is. This is stop fucking with Russia because they might use their nukes. That's what, it's 100% where this came from. It's just just shitty, overly dramatic Russian propaganda. 100%, that's all this is. Fuck off, lady. What's she gonna do? Come back to the United States and go, we gotta get rid of all of our nukes. And then we gotta make everybody else get rid of their nukes too. But I guess them first. So like everybody. Good God. Can I also show? I'm not going to dump into these, but I want to show you this real quick. This is another one of those anti-ICE protest funding exposed. This is another one of those videos where they're like, "That's who's paying for all of this, the Chula folks. It's all yeah." So and then there's of course there's Salcido who always uses his Spanish accent when he's speaking about things to get street cred, and then I guess turns on other people who came over here another way. Also, but I know this is serious. Look, the serious stuff. We just obviously watched I guess a anti-Skynet video from Tulsi Gabbard, I think it's pronounced. But there are more serious issues going on. For example, Tucker Carlson has a video with 147,000 views where he does Tucker's ultimate nicotine pouch taste test.
Well, that smells like shit, actually. Oh my God. It's absolutely awful. Like, that's like the worst smell I've ever smelled. It's really bad. It's really bad. No, really.
I didn't know they put the scent of your show in a nicotine pouch. It's amazing.
Right, it's good for the climate. Oh, you, Zen. Nobody who works at the company who uses nicotine pouches. I'm kind of like a living lab rat right now. Like, what happens if you really go all the way?
They used that laugh on purpose. Why is he wearing gloves? Because he apparently takes them out of the pouch.
I'm Tucker Carlson, and I like nicotine. One of the keys to life, I think, is being honest about what you know. Can you give a 2-hour talk on copper mining in Congo? Probably not. But if you ask me what I think of nicotine, I have an informed answer because I am a lifelong, over 40-year nicotine user. After a lifetime of testing, I've arrived now at Alp nicotine pouches.
Jesus Christ, this is just a giant fucking 30-minute commercial.
Created Alp pouch because we know what we're talking about.
Oh, it's his own product. This is just yeah. Look at this. Hashtag Tucker Carlson, hashtag sommelier, hashtag taste test. Jesus Christ, way to sell it.
When we talk about nicotine. But it dawned on me the other day, this could be the moment for a nicotine tasting. And as I just said, I'm not just a casual user, I'm a nicotine sommelier. So today, we're going to go through the entire gamut of commercially available nicotine pouches in the United States, and we're going to compare them to the product that we make, Alp Pouch. I'm going to be donning a white glove as a sommelier would, and the purpose of this.
Oh my God, as a sommelier would. I mean, this isn't a thing, is it? I mean,
I like wood. Deeper and longer.
As a real man of the people here. The French don't even have a word for sommelier.
It's just to my left hand, I'm left-handed, is to make sure it's fair. I don't want to pollute the taste of any of these pouches with oils on my hands. Okay, that's how serious we are. So let's start out.
How do you know they won't taste like whatever you cleaned the glove with? Oh, you never did.
With what we make.
Ew. What kind of tropical fruit? Get the fuck out of here. He's going to go like, these are great.
Basis, I use 9 milligram, but we're going to hit the median here with 6. And I mix these actually with wintergreen. I put 2 tins together, and I kind of like they marinate together and create something kind of special. But we're going to try it alone today. It's not that easy with the white gloves, but the white gloves are worth it. Okay? Now, before, people always do the upper deck or lower deck, whatever, but I like to swirl it around in my mouth.
No. Good Lord. Is this what happens when you're born with money? You just have no sense of reality at all? Holy shit. Well, clearly.
I like wood. Deeper and longer.
Yeah. This is I don't know. He pops those in when he tans his balls or what's left of them. All right, now a couple of things I want to show you before I'm running out of time so swiftly. It just happens that way. So let's see this. I want to show you something because kids, I said something and I was like, I hope people pick this up and start carrying it. And I saw Raw Story had picked up a story by ProPublica, and I was like, finally, people are taking seriously what I said. The Doge 100. Musk is out, but more than 100 of his followers remain in to implement Trump's blueprint, or follow Musk's orders, more to the point. At least 38 Doge members work or have worked for one of Elon's companies. Meanwhile, nearly 24 Doge officials are making cuts to the same federal agencies that regulate the industries that employ them. And Trump is not going to do anything about it. Now, who are these people? Let's start with, well, there's a whole bunch of these folks, and they're in all these agencies. They're all throughout these kind of things, all the way to the Postal Service. They're, a lot of them are GSA, the General Services Administration. That's how they pounced on the rest of the stuff. A lot of them have multiple jobs, like this guy, or they'll get put in like the Department of Peace and shit like that. They're technically in those things because they were forced on those people to dismantle them. There's some of them are in the DOD. He was, he was Weiss made multiple appearances on Fox News advocating for increased U.S. military support for Israel. He's a co-founder of a technology company that builds software for automotive repair shops. I don't know if that includes Musk's firm, but probably. Musk has reportedly donated $10 million to fertility research from this guy's thing. He's at the Department of Labor now, which is ironic, I guess, considering labor pains being what they are. But all these guys, these folks right here, yeah, they're all still in the government, even though Elon Musk has been kicked to the curb. Yeah, there's Amy Gleason. She's the woman who was put in charge of this, and nobody knew she was the leader until they told her she was the leader, which is fascinating. But all those folks, this storyline, chat room, if I may, I'm so glad this is finally coming to surface. Obviously, they're soft pedaling it in a way that I would not. But this is the reality. Trump is surrounded by a bunch of Doge bags, and that plan is still in place. Yeah. So when it comes to America, I only believe what Bernie says. So you're to the right of Hillary Clinton on gun control? Okay. Hashtag Doge is a heist. Is one little balls? I think they all are, don't you think? Yeah. Did you see a Muhammad in there? You did. You did. You saw a bunch of Indian names and a bunch of other folks that are in there. Let's see. But this serves as transparent in history. Okay. Many of its staff. Yeah, here it goes. While the Trump administration asserts it is the most transparent in history, Doge operatives. Doge operates shrouded by shadows of bureaucracy. Many of its staffers have deleted their public profiles, have wiped the internet of their professional backgrounds, and were encouraged by leadership not to discuss their work with friends. At the behest of the Trump administration, the Supreme Court halted a court order on Friday that would have required Doge to turn over information to a government watchdog, challenging whether the group will ever be subject to public records requests. The Trump administration has banned Doge staffers from speaking publicly without approval. So I don't want to hear shit about the transparency of the Trump administration. Period. End of story. Now, God damn, today just zipped by. Okay, so another real quick thing. So, this is a gotcha moment. Uh-oh, we got you, Democrats. The blase has got you by the jacones, which is the smaller version.
The mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures on the U.S.-Mexico border. Mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures. Yes, they said after years of confiscating rising amounts of fentanyl. I wonder why that was. The opioid that has fueled the most lethal drug epidemic in American history. Now we're admitting that. That's great. U.S. officials are confronting a new and puzzling reality at the Mexican border. Fentanyl seizures are plummeting.
Yeah, and where do you think they're going to go? Well, we're stopped all the people coming across, so that's why there's no fentanyl. Do you think that's what the article says? Do you think there's a yeah but in there? Do you think I would have picked this in particular? Maybe, just maybe, if there was a clue that she perhaps didn't read the whole goddamn article. Right.
It's a mystery, you guys. We have no idea. No.
I think.
I bet you don't know.
I think I've got it.
I bet you don't know. I bet you'll never guess.
I think I've got it. There's less people coming over.
Oh my gosh, I think you're right. Wait, so when you actually enforce the laws at the border, there are less.
Is there less fentanyl on the streets of America? Has the price gone up? That would be how you guess, like, and again, seizures are when you catch the stuff, but I don't know, maybe that this means there are fewer seizures, mean that more guards at the gates are being paid to let it through?
People who can actually bring drugs into the country. Yeah.
Wow, it seems so simple. Let's check in with the article itself. The mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures on the U.S.-Mexico border. The reason behind the decrease in fentanyl seizures in the U.S. and among Mexico-U.S. border are complex. The phenomenon has received little notice in Washington, where the Trump administration has made fentanyl trafficking cartels a national security priority. Narcotics of all kinds are pouring across our borders, said the White House in a statement in March. New data suggests a more complex story. The U.S. government's average monthly seizures of fentanyl at the Mexican border have dropped by more than half, from 1,700 pounds in 2024 to 746 pounds this year. Now, I guess they're extrapolating it out because this year is not over. So far, I guess? Okay. Anyways, according to Customs and Border Protection data, the White House says the drop is thanks to President Trump's policies empowering law enforcement officials to dismantle drug trafficking networks. Yet the decline started before Trump took office in January. While officials only managed to detect part of the fentanyl crossing border, the figure serves as a proxy for supply. Now, the contraction represents something of a mystery. Say anti-drug agents and researchers. These are people who are against the drugs coming across. Are Mexican cartels producing less fentanyl, or have they simply found new ways to sneak it across the border? Fentanyl is still cheap and widely available in the United States, according to analysts and drug enforcement agents. Yet overdose deaths plunged by nearly 27% last year, compared with 2023. That's in 2024. They plunged during Biden. 27% compared to 2023, according to estimates published by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The biggest cause of such deaths are illicit synthetic opioids, especially fentanyl. A harrowing number of Americans are still being killed by drugs, an estimated 80,000 last year. Down from the 100,000. Remember that? Trump said hundreds of thousands of people being killed. Not even close to true. But scientists have rarely seen such a sharp decline in overdose deaths. And this is from 2023 to 2024. Interviews with more than a dozen drug enforcement officers, academics, medical personnel, scientists point to some surprising shifts in the opioid epidemic. Here's what's changing with fentanyl. U.S. seizures at the Mexico border are down almost 30% for the first half of this fiscal year compared to the same period in 2024. They have shrunk by even more since the first half of 2023, from 13,804 pounds to 6,749 pounds. Those numbers are for the first 6 months of each fiscal year, which starts in October. So even the down number from this cycle started in October of last year. One cannot deny there's a big drop, said Vanda Felben-Brown, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institute who studies the fentanyl crisis. How long it's going to last is the critical thing. So here's 2024 numbers. Huge drop. They were fairly static, and then a big drop, 2023 to 2024. Now, if you'll recall, who was president during these numbers? And do you think this dipshit knows that they're talking about Biden numbers? Probably not. Okay, now, the decline is occurring even as the Trump administration has deployed thousands of troops to the border and expanded drone flights with more boots on the ground. You'd think the seizures would go up. You'd think the seizures would go up. You'd think the seizures would go up, meaning there's more people down there. So obviously, if people are coming through with drugs, they would catch them. And obviously, these are different than people smuggling through the border is different than people just trying to cross the border. But okay, not down. Some security officials think cartels could be seeking ways to get around border security forces by mailing the fentanyl or digging tunnels. After all, there's still plenty of fentanyl available on U.S. streets. After all, there's still plenty of fentanyl available on U.S. streets. This month, do you think this is how these dipshits think this article goes? Do you think they read past the fucking title? Well, let's see. Well, you know what? Before I go on, because it doesn't get better for these dipshits in that article, which I have read, let's see where they go.
It's crazy, right? Also, the White House literally already announced their strategy. It was like a 6-point strategy to reduce the number of overdose fatalities with a focus on fentanyl. Secure.
Okay, so this is their strategy. Reduce the number of overdose with a focus on fentanyl. Okay. By stopping the fentanyl, the plan would be to get rid of that stuff. And these would be the results that they're actually doing. Secure the global supply chain against drug trafficking. Secure the global trafficking. So people can't sneak drugs in regular drugs, right? I guess. Stop the flow of drugs across our borders and into our communities. All right. That's a goal, not a plan. I guess that's their priorities. Okay.
Global supply chain.
She's reading it differently because it looks like the word priorities right there, I'm guessing.
Against drug trafficking. Stop the flow of drugs across our borders and into our communities. And
didn't work. It's still coming in. It's still cheap and readily available. So obviously it's coming in another way.
You know, and so on. So it's like, yeah, guys, this isn't rocket science. It just turns out whenever you secure the borders and you enforce the laws that are already on the books, and you don't just put Border Patrol out there to work as glorified travel agents and stamp people's papers as they go out and they're like, you super pinky promise that you are going to show up at court on this date? Oh, yes, I do. And with their fingers crossed behind their backs because they're terrorists and they don't give a shit about your laws. It turns out when you just have an administration
you're bragging about Biden's numbers.
To just do things, it results in less fentanyl being trafficked over the border. Like, are you guys retarded? Wait, don't answer that. I already know the answer.
Uh-oh, she knows the answer.
I want to play White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Yeah, by the way, somebody just said that many will die if Narcan is gone. You're already getting ahead of the other reason that overdose deaths have gone down. Again, 23 to 24.
Talking about this WAPO article, watch.
On the topic of immigration, the Washington Post just ran one of the most ridiculous headlines ever, even by their standards. And on my very first briefing several months ago, I said I would hold anyone accountable in this room. The Washington Post actually had this headline: the mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures on the U.S.-Mexico border. How is this mysterious? There is no...
Well, again, there would be more seizures if you had more people down there because these are not migrants coming across. This is drugs. This is drug smuggling. Drug smugglers are different than the people seizing stuff. And you're talking about these like large bales of this shit that's coming across and always have, regardless of immigration numbers.
Mystery about why there is a decrease in fentanyl coming into the United States. This administration...
There isn't. No. Hi, stupid. No. Listen to what she says there. See if anybody sees what I say. Here you go.
Mystery about why there is a decrease in fentanyl coming into the United States.
There isn't. There is not a decrease in fentanyl coming into the United States. Not related to this. There isn't. It's still here. It's still available. It's still coming in. It's just not coming in it's not being found coming across the southern border. They are so busy focused on economic migrants or people coming across and shutting that shit down that they very well may be just missing the people who have tunneled underneath or the actual drug smugglers themselves because they're so focused on foreigners doing it. But if an American rolls right up to the fucking wall and somebody chucks this shit over the wall and that American throws it in their truck and drives back and they ask him for ID and like, I'm an American, they'll let him right the fuck through because they're so focused on foreigners. They're so focused on illegals and undocumented people coming across. It's made it easier for people to smuggle drugs in and they're not seizing it. Again, this is their problem with seizure. They have a problem with understanding the word seizure in the same way that they don't understand the word consent.
Administration's strong border policies are the reason there has been a decrease in fentanyl trafficking.
there has not been a decrease in fentanyl trafficking. Not related to this.
That's why it's just, I mean, it is funny to make fun of these people.
It's so funny. It's so funny that they wrote this whole article and they never really thought about like how ridiculous this is.
They really are retarded, but
adorable. Okay, back to why this lady is what she accuses other people of being. Okay, after all, there is still plenty of fentanyl available on U.S. streets. This month, DEA agents confiscated more than 880 pounds of the opioid in a historic operation, most of it in Albuquerque. Albuquerque, old Barbette. Yet, even including such operations in the U.S. interior, fentanyl seizures have been declining. The purity rate of fentanyl is also going down, according to the DEA's annual drug threat assessment. Ed Sisko, a chemist at the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which has an independent drug analysis program, said that there was a growing number of additives in fentanyl samples, including the less potent heroin. The increase of heroin could be a thing that's showing us there's a strain in the fentanyl supply, he said. Producing heroin, and this is not about when it gets into the United States, right? This is about the amount of it in the fucking world. Okay, so watch this. Dealers could be adding it since they have a shortage, but researchers caution that they need more evidence to be sure. The drop in fentanyl may reflect Sinaloa cartel woes. One explanation for a decline in fentanyl, and this is going back 2 years, is at the U.S. border, is the war within the Sinaloa cartel, the main producer of the opioid. Since September, two factions have been brawling in Sinaloa, one led by the sons of El Chapo, the other loyal to Ismael El Mayo Zambada. Hundreds of people have been killed. Gunmen throwing grenades and firing assault rifles have blocked Highway 15, the region's main road to the U.S. border. The government of President Claudia Sheinbaum, which is the greatest Mexican president name in the history of president names, has taken advantage of the turmoil in the cartel to arrest scores of leading members. That may have made it even harder for them to keep up fentanyl production. This has fucking nothing to do with a blockade at the border or its inability to get across, because some of it still is. It's just the seizures are down. It's that the fucking cartels are at war with each other because they've been decapitated and people are fighting for who will control it, either from prison where El Chapo is or El Mayo are, or from whatever the next tier down of whoever these assholes are. Okay. Then, there have been shortages of ingredients for fentanyl. The DEA's annual threat report said that the signs that many Mexican-based fentanyl cooks are having a difficult time obtaining some key precursor chemicals. And this has been happening since 2022. It's been going down, the availability of these things. They had a stockpile, 23 went up, and then it went down precipitously in 24 because they were having a hard time accessing these things. U.S. anti-drug agents have been trying to outwit precursor suppliers. One program run by Homeland Security, Operation Hydra, has resulted in the seizure of more than 3.4 million pounds of chemicals. And again, we'll look at, let me show you something real quick. Let's see if the... Let's for just failures. Oh, back up. That's Yugoslavia. Show more. There we go. Operation Hydra. Fentanyl. Yeah, maybe that'll be easier. Yeah, here it is. Special interest with we're gonna Yeah, here you go. Next phase of DHS campaign to stop fentanyl will focus on interdiction and supply chain disruption. Check out the date. I'll wait. Yeah. June 22nd, 2023. A long-term problem requires a long-term solution. There you go. So this is Operation Blue Lotus. Yeah. This is under Alejandro Mayorkas. There we go. The intelligence and investigative work being conducted by the DHS agencies and with other federal parties to disrupt the fentanyl supply chain is unprecedented. Agreed. There you go. It's 2 fucking years ago. That's right. Now, China, a major source for precursor chemicals, also cracked down on the illicit export under pressure from the Biden administration. Wow, look at that. Do you think, hey, dipshit, do you guys fucking read any of these articles? Do you read any of them? Now, I'm going to look at some of the rest of this clip, but I want you guys to see what the article actually says to see how far they go. It's not clear that China's stepped up enforcement will continue. In February, the government warned that tariffs imposed by Trump to discourage precursor chemicals would harm the counter-narcotics cooperation. If anything, Trump's actions have made them want to stop trying to help in this idea. Right, there you go. And then, here's the other one. Maybe the demand for fentanyl is dropping. If less fentanyl is reaching the U.S. streets, why isn't the price going up? It could be that demand has decreased. Number one is it kills everybody. That's right. One of the problems with fentanyl is that you fucking die. The other one is that they're adding xylazine to it. Is that, they say, yes, here it is. One reason drug suppliers have increasingly adulterated fentanyl with xylazine, a veterinary tranquilizer that causes ghastly flesh wounds. It also makes people very sleepy. Instead of shooting up several times a day, fentanyl users might be injecting less of the substance when it's mixed with xylazine. They don't want to conk out all the time, Des Gupta said, who's one of the people who's talking about this. The other possible factor is that a shift by some users to smoking fentanyl rather than injecting it, which again, if you just the fucking oral taking of it can kill you. Jesus Christ. Yeah, tranq. That's exactly right. The xylazine stuff. With smoking, you're able to better control your drug intake and in turn may not get as much fentanyl into your system versus injecting a full syringe. The trend could contribute to the less demand for the opioid because it goes further and the price hasn't changed. Demographic trends could be playing a role. People in their 20s aren't using fentanyl as much as older Americans. You're getting to a generational effect. Illicit opioids are not cool. Some academics think the drop in overdose death is so abrupt that a constriction in fentanyl supply has to be a factor. The decline in fatal overdoses is consistent with a supply chain reduction that began in October, November of 2023. Now let's watch these assholes make fools of themselves.
More importantly, it really is, it's maddening when you think about the amount of Americans. Specifically, this is killing younger Americans, right?
Nope. Didn't read the article, did you?
Amount of Americans who didn't have to die if it weren't for these open borders policies. Like these were all preventable deaths.
No, they weren't, because the vast majority of the drug came in via like people smuggling it in suitcases through airports.
If the Biden regime would have just enforced the laws on the
They did. That's why the numbers came down.
And then you start thinking about all of the, I mean, how many people in this country died from fentanyl during the Biden regime? And it's like,
biggest drop in opioid deaths ever. By the way, continued to climb all during Trump, didn't give a shit.
That's a hell of a lot of Americans that would still be alive right now if that regime didn't intentionally bring these people and these drugs into the country. And
They didn't intentionally bring these people and these drugs in the country, and the southern border was never the main conduit anyways.
Think of a word other than treasonous to describe that type of policy.
Well, wouldn't that be the same as like attacking China in a way that would get them to stop protecting us from the precursor chemicals and make the chances of those people dying going back up, I guess?
Yeah, it's always interesting, though, with me. I know I'm a little more cynical than you are because I look at it like, damn, when the government wants to be efficient, they can get some shit done. I find that kind of interesting. But anywhere.
Right. You might want to read the article. Yes, because when they want to get stuff done, they do. The biggest drop in opioid deaths in a year's time in history came under the Biden administration. While it had remained steady from 2020 and they were getting a handle on it. Yeah.
We have to hear all these damn excuses about what they can and can't do. But yeah.
I mean, if there's one thing for the government to be doing.
Well, no, that's the thing.
It would be that.
Well, that is, especially with regards to like the executive branch, you'd think that would be one of the main things that they're doing, if anything else, and not all the dumb shit that they're doing, not only in the country, but especially abroad. This is the thing that they're supposed to be tasked with doing, and oftentimes they seem to stray from the path. But yeah, I just find it interesting that is somehow something that,
real quick. if we're going to talk about people not doing their job, fair assessment, some people don't do their job. You know, they get in a job and you expect them to do it. You're watching a sporting tournament of some sort, and the man who's supposed to hit the puck into the thing that bounces the ball into the goals posts of some sort is not doing that, and you will scream at him. Or perhaps the ref gentleman in the striped shirt is not calling the game in a professional way, in a way that you wish he would, so that your team would have a proper advantage. And so you would scream at that ref for not doing his reffing, perhaps, or someone in a governmental situation, you know, a cop pulling you over, went for a taillight, and you really know he just saw your beautiful hair and thought you looked like a beautiful woman, and then he got up to the window and realized you were even a more handsome man. You know, something like that. And you're like, do your job, buddy. I get it. People sometimes aren't efficient in doing their jobs. Like people on roundtable discussions that talk about the news and bring up news articles and dissect it for political points or lulls or whatever. When none of them have read the article. Clearly, no one at this table read the article. Because if they had, they would have passed on this segment.
Backtrack a little bit. It is kind of hilarious that these weirdos for any news agency would act like they're all confused, because definitely if that's a point of emphasis, that's something they want to invest all these resources in to actually, trying to halt. Well, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get less of it. It's not a rocket science. You don't need to be some sort of...
Yeah, but the problem is there's no relation to closing the southern border and fentanyl the way Trump said. That's the essence of this article. Not that... the decline in fentanyl in the country that does exist is other factors that predate his presidency.
Immigration lawyer, or you don't have to be one of those guys at one of these institutions getting those government grants trying to analyze why something is happening from an economic perspective. It's not a rocket science at all. You don't need to be an economist.
Yeah, Duff says it's sweet that you think they read it all. Hey, look. I'm just holding the guy's standard up in a mirror to himself, because that's what he was just bitching about. The government, when they want to be efficient, they can.
Figure out why.
I'm not sure, by the way, you're right. I'm not sure that this group can read. And they can obviously read words on a screen or teleprompter, that kind of, they can regurgitate the words. I just think their reading comprehension is shit, and they have no appetite for any depth of reading, is what I would say.
Hell, this is happening. But... don't anticipate they're going to give credit where it's due.
Yeah, I'm reading over 270,000 overdose deaths. This was written last year, and it as thrust into the heart of U.S. presidential race. So you've got an administration, over 250,000, we know, Americans died on Joe Biden's watch during his tenure.
No. The first 100,000 number that you're talking about happened during Trump's, October to October.
150,000.
It was actually April to April in the fiscal year.
Americans died from fentanyl. Now, by the way, is there a chance that like a very small percentage of those drugs didn't necessarily come in through the U.S.-Mexico border? I guess, but I mean...
There's a chance that most of it didn't.
That's the overwhelming supply chain. I don't know where else it would have come from, which, by the way, they're getting it from China.
You don't?
Even get me started on the process of how China is literally trying to poison and kill us in all sorts of ways that we just continue to turn a blind eye to.
But I'm sorry, Trump said Xi Jinping is a very good friend of his, and he's always liked him.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing about this, going back to the title of that article and what they're trying to say, is they're not retarded. Well, they might be retarded, but that's disingenuous, of course, right? They know. They have always known.
No, read the article, asshole. No, you're you can't even say they're disingenuous because you have not fucking read the article. You don't even know if they're being disingenuous or what they would be disingenuous about.
They ran block for this president, the past president. They didn't hold him accountable. They were meant to hold him accountable. And this is their way of kind of like, these aren't the droids you're looking for. Oh, we just discovered this. No, you knew all along because it was...
No, they didn't. Again, we read the art. We looked at it. That's not what it says at all. Like, these assholes are just... Every sentence out of their mouth is just them repeating over and over, I'm a dumb fuck and I don't read.
All along. And even if it wasn't said all along, you don't have to be an idiot to understand that open borders leads to things like this, leads to criminality. It's the same thing of like, oh.
Yeah, but it didn't.
I don't know why all these rapes have gone down now. I have no idea why the crime has lowered in these border cities. It's like you knew these people.
Crime hasn't gone down in the border cities. It's going down in the big Democrat cities.
Are the enemy of the American people. That's what they are. That's
who?
What they are. They know exactly.
Yes, he did, Norm.
What they're doing there. And we cannot let them get away with it. But they're dying anyway. Like, nobody cares what the Washington Post has to say. But it just shows.
You guys do.
Joe, absolutely anti-American. Because that's what it is. If you know, it's same with the George Floyd thing.
Winnie Boo says she is ill. Yeah, that's like there's a big argument about whether he's ill or probably dead already. It's hard to say.
He died of a fentanyl overdose. You think they care about that? You think they care about that? But no, they keep parroting the other narrative. They keep parroting other narratives. They're good people on both sides.
Huh?
Thank goodness we have a new administration.
Why? So they can rename the Biden approach and let it keep working, or scuttle it and go back to the status quo that was fucking things up?
A giant problem with the news and with entertainment and media. Massive problem. It's
Yes, I would put the blaze on that, the blasé on that bonfire of bullshit.
Huge, but the good thing is now under Trump, I feel that more people are going, I'm just not going to watch your movie anymore. I'm just not going to watch your television. I'm just not going to do this anymore. And they're
not doing that at all.
Finally waking up to the reality of what...
The reality that none of you motherfuckers can read.
These people have done. I mean, and it is one giant block.
Right. Which is why places like the Blaze exist, which...
because we need news that's dissected by people who don't read. Media criticism from people who don't ingest the medium before they criticize it. It's
Eric has been so successful in comics with Rippaverse because people are just like, I'm done. I mean, you're done with all of it on all fronts, right?
I'm so done. My God, I'm so done with reading.
It's the mainstream legacy media. It's not just, it's literally infiltrated every single aspect in our lives.
It literally hasn't.
In our culture. And
it literally has not. That's what the word literally means. It has not.
Oh, I mean, I feel like this guy's like has a multi-million-dollar business, so I guess Americans are sick of it, right? Like,
that's not
let his success be a testament to the fact that Americans are sick of it, because they seem to be craving that type of content.
Well, I just think that considering Sarah hasn't traveled that much, that you should take her on your G5. Fly her all around the world.
Yeah, let her see the rest of her. I agree. Especially fly her to Europe so she can go, oh shit, I thought this place had burned down years ago, according to Trump. This is fantastic.
I do request that, Eric.
Okay. You can take it to your house in Lake Como. You can do that. It's okay.
I would feel much more comfortable in your G5. It's true. I would.
Don't shake a hand. You dare shake a hand.
Yeah. No, I just make sure that your pilots are not vaccinated with the COVID vax.
They're not women either.
And they're not women. Yeah.
Jesus. You know what? I'm glad the Blasé still has standards. You're right. I hope you don't have any women pilots who are vaccinated or whatever. It was nice knowing you.
Yeah, we're going for straight males. All right.
Sorry, gay men are not good pilots now either?
Yeah,
Robert says they put up the article, right? They put up the title of the article and one segment out of the first paragraph. They literally, let me show you the part that they actually put up. Where is it? I had to go so far back. After years of confiscating rising amounts of fentanyl, the opioid that has fueled most lethal drug epidemic in American history, U.S. officials are confronting a new and puzzling reality at the Mexico border. Fentanyl seizures are plummeting. That's the part that I think they put at the beginning,
no,
right?
You're right.
Hold on. Let me make sure that. Are they there? Okay, they're currently here, 9:31. Okay. Let's look at this thing real quick. Yeah, after years of that was the part. Fentanyl seizures plummeting. That's exactly what I said. You're welcome.
I'd feel much more comfortable in your G5. It's true. I would.
Don't shake a hand. You dare shake a hand.
Yeah. No, I with the COVID vax.
Not women.
Okay.
Yeah, I no, you're right. You're right. And listen, I don't mean to give the Washington Post more attention than they deserve, which is none, but it is fun to poke fun at them sometimes.
Maybe check the article, read the whole article before you realize that you've been making fun of yourself this entire time. Good times. I feel like they deserve something along the lines of,
Here I am like an idiot.
This is, you could have stupider shit, I guess, than that, maybe the kidney, but I don't know if that's... Is this?
Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me!
Oh, we're fine, I guess.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
I suppose that's true. See you guys tomorrow. Oh, by the way, I may have to go to the DMV tomorrow. So I hope I will have normal shows, but I won't know until 8 o'clock tonight. I'll let you know, Andrea. And Harry Dunn's going to be on Friday's show. Yeah, baby. Sounds fantastic. I'm very excited. Very cool. I'll be on Steph's show on Thursday morning, live in studio with her. I got the Queer as Folk thing Thursday night. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm driving back home. And then we're going to have Harry Dunn on with us for an hour. And then I guess our dear friend Rob Glenn in for Friday Eye as well. This is becoming a real show. I don't know what to tell y'all. This is pretty cool. This is... I'm just saying, pretty snazzy around here. Yeah. This is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I don't even know what to tell you guys now, except I'm Hal Sparks, and I'll be Hal Sparksing all week. Yes. Somebody bring me a mirror. Hit that like, everybody. I did the math for you on two things tonight. I'm working on things behind the scenes. I know the show's over, but I'm trying to figure out why something under my desk isn't plugged in. So enjoy the end title screen, I guess, for a minute. My keyboard stopped working. This guy. Oh shit! I won't be able to show you that. Hold on. Try this. My piano keyboard. You can see the keys a little bit. All right. Chip. God damn it. Kids today. It might be Bucky. He's becoming rambunctious. All right, I think I got it together. I'll see you guys tomorrow.